No wonder Nora didn't want to come here. I'm not sure I could take something like this seriously myself. Maybe that's why Soren is successful and I'm not. Am I late? Looks like the talk is already happening. Ugh, this place is packed. I'll just stand in the back. Thousands of dollars to come here? Gross.
So, to get back to my original point, the current state of the art is AI-driven counseling, typified by apps like Eliza. Let's talk about the model here for a second.
He looks a little haggard. I wonder if he's okay.
It all begins with data. You collect all the data you can. From base level metrics like heart rates, body temperature, blood pressure, to higher order metrics like hand movement, head movement, gaze aversion. If the client lets you, you'll want to pull from their digital life too, their message histories and email, their search histories, and online behavior.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, okay. So it seems as if...
Their Facebook.
Yeah, and then if your client really wants to, they don't have to pay for therapy at all. They can just allow you to sell their data to the government to see if they apply for their special soldier program.
It's all potentially valuable.
I'm sure it is.
Then you compare the client's responses to relevant data from thousands of other clients and build a model of the client's psychological state. This approach has worked well so far. Eliza is still the best and most advanced version. But that's just my personal opinion. For those of you who don't know, I was the team lead and chief psychologist for the Eliza project at Skanda for a number of years.
It's me.
It's so tricky because this, if they weren't talking about, mental health stuff, being able to compare data from, millions of people is obviously really helpful. You know, in healthcare, if you're looking at cancer treatment, for example, and you want to compare data from people to see what treatments are most effective depending on a variety of factors. But the mental health aspect and going through people's posts and stuff,
it just seems super manipulative.
Why does it seem manipulative?
Because they're saying we're taking all these responses and things and giving a manufactured response to that seems really digital, and it just seems like it could be very easily exploited at any moment for the slightest reason. And I feel like this applies to any sort of consolidation of data, that at any moment this can be used for the worst cases possible.
Yeah.
Because in 1984, they basically just did the same thing. The book, not the year. They basically just do the same thing, and everyone really likes it because all of their stuff is super personalized. But at the same time, if the government or maybe a mega corporation or whatever took over and wanted to make sure you were doing the things that they wanted you to do, they could.
I think that one of the things that this naturally makes you think about is that there's a lot of companies that already do this.
Yes, and there are countries that already abuse this system very badly, like China, and which is why all the protesters in Hong Kong are really steadfast about covering their faces and stuff, because it's bad. Taking credit for all of it, I see.
Now, even though this is a proven approach, there are two weaknesses I'm going to highlight. One is the data I was just talking about. You're completely dependent on that. Collect as much as you can, sure, but it's important to keep in mind that you can have all the data in the world and still not understand why things work the way they do.
I think that's why our main protagonist has been off of social media, because she also realized how easy it is for everybody to get in there. Because I know there's a lot of people in the tech industry where there are people who are like, oh yeah, I totally want to get my thermostat done this, and I totally want to get Alexa in my room.
The what?
My thermostat,
thermostat.
Thermostat to connect it to the Wi-Fi and everything like that. And then everybody who actually works in the tech industry, they just go, no, I'm not gonna do that.
I wouldn't say that everybody in the tech industry is like that, but yeah.
And that's important for us to note, because if we have something that works, but we're not sure why, then what do we actually understand about ourselves? The crucial step after data is the model. The data needs to be used to validate a model. If you can't make a model, you're finished. If that sounds like basic, obvious science to you, it is. But I was surprised to find out just how many people from the tech sector don't think this way.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how there was this guy who, like, okay, so you know how there are, like, data brokers who sell, like, your personal information, like, your address, phone number, blah, 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 blah. And, like, this is all, like, publicly available information, but what they do is they go scrape it off social media and they can sell it to somebody who wants information about you. And I remember there was this, like, tech guy who, what he wanted to do was make it so that people couldn't make money off of selling the data. So instead he just scraped all of it and put it online as, like, a freely accessible website, and people got really upset because it's like it's got like phone numbers, email addresses, addresses, like everything that's all like scraped off of like Facebook and Twitter and everything, and it like consolidates it all in one place. And the guy's sitting there being like, wait, but this information is all already available, like it's publicly available, why are people pissed about it? And it's like, well, they're pissed because it's like people might have had to pay for this before, but now you've made it so that it's all easily searchable in one place. And, like, yes, that takes money away from the data brokers that are, like, selling it, but also now you've just made it so that nobody has to even, like, go through the extra step of, like, paying for it or trying to find it. You've just made it freely available.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you don't need to understand why something works in order to make it into a product and sell it. Obviously, though, if you had mastery of the underlying details, you'd be able to adjust the process and potentially make it work even better.
The audience is getting impatient. Clearly, they're expecting something big.
One further note while I'm discussing modeling. Many of the startups trying to address mental health right now are completely ignoring the insights provided by the field of traditional psychology. They do so at their own peril. Many of you know already, but as a brief personal aside, I was a professor of psychology before I joined the tech world. I'm continually stunned at how little the tech heads know or even care about the hundreds of years of psychological research that has gone on in my field. That's something I can talk about at length, perhaps another time. For now, I'll move on to the other weakness I mentioned. This is the real one, the big one. It's treatment. A system like Eliza can tell what's wrong with a client to a certain level of accuracy, but it doesn't quite know how to turn that into a comprehensive treatment plan. It can suggest therapeutic programs and activities, and soon it might even issue its own prescriptions without having to go through a doctor or a psychiatrist. Well, as long as the FDA continues to look upon us favorably.
As long as the FDA continues to take our bribes.
But those are blunt instruments compared to what I'm going to talk about next.
Great. Maybe this is it. Is he going to go where I think he is?
Many of you know there's a technology still in its infancy called direct stimulation.
Oh, they're gonna put it in their fucking brains.
For those of you who haven't heard of it, direct stimulation is a way of creating sensations within the brain with targeted electrical impulses.
Oh, this is interesting because this is kind of something that already exists.
Imagine an augmented reality headset, but instead of working on your eyes, it stimulates the brain in such a way as to induce a specific dream.
No, this will immediately be abused. Immediately.
A spring meadow, for example. This sounds fantastical, I know, but progress on this technique has been occurring faster than you think. We're actually quite close to a workable demonstration model. How is that possible? Well, first of all, we only suggest an overall feeling. Your own brain does most of the work, just as it does in your dreams. It fills in all of the visual details using its own set of memories and expectations.
Ah, so this is what everyone came to hear. I think that's interesting because the guy who was there first, they're talking about, separate from the real world I'm talking about within the world of this video game. Everyone seems to be more and more unhappy with the world. And their solution isn't to solve any of the things that are making people unhappy. Their solution is to implant things into their brain to force them to be happy.
Well, how do we know it's not, though?
What?
They haven't really talked about that.
I'm just saying, from the context clues of this world, and like all the articles from In the World. They're saying that more people are unhappy, and he's talking about all the reasons why he's unhappy. Instead of addressing like these systemic problems, they're addressing the problem of just force them to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can be right, but I think it's also important.
I'm trying to keep this separate from the real world.
Yeah. I guess, like, you still want people to feel better or have some way to address their own issues in the meantime.
Right.
Even if you can't or won't address the systemic stuff.
I don't think that's the direction this game is going in, though.
Yeah.
Induced dreams via direct stimulation can contain all the therapeutic content of VR therapy without the need to create realistic graphics or other content. Instead, it harnesses the brain's creative power to dream up the situation for itself.
It seems like a really easy way to brainwash people into doing things or controlling them. Like, imagine if this technology didn't belong to somebody you could trust. Like, imagine if this belonged to the current Chinese government where people are trying to protest.
I mean...
And everyone had that installed in their brain, and they just convinced them that it was okay for them to pass those laws.
Look at what we have happening with, like false social media posts.
Exactly.
Like, to sway public opinion.
Exactly. So let's say, what if Amazon owned this technology and everyone was like, oh, I opted into the Amazon Dream Program. And then they're like, you know what? Those Amazon employees, they're probably happy. Why'd you change your mind? I don't know. I just woke up feeling like that.
Yeah.
Combine that with the insights we gain from parametric therapy systems like Eliza, and you have a complete end-to-end, fully automated system. It should be clear now that this heralds a revolution in how we treat, how we think about mental health. And with mental health challenges on the rise across the globe, it couldn't come at a more crucial time. So, that's why today, right here, I'm announcing Aponia, a new company to make induced dreaming a reality and end human suffering as we know it.
Creepy.
Yeah. On one side, ending human suffering sounds awesome. On the other side, sometimes people suffer because of, like, reasons that need to be fixed. Yeah. Other times, you know, it's chemical imbalances and stuff. But sometimes, maybe it's not their brain. Sometimes maybe it's the world that's going to shit. And they're sad because of that.
But, like, you know...
I'm thinking of this within the context of an encroaching dystopian future rather than...
Yeah, but I guess, like, if you as the individual can't do anything about it, what are you supposed to do aside from try to get through it, you know?
Right. So, imagine... I know I keep bringing up Hong Kong. Each of those individuals feel like they can't do anything about the laws that they were trying to pass. But they all collectively became unhappy enough to do it together.
Oh, I was thinking more like something that like like a person really can't do anything about, like a climate apocalypse, you know?
Well, we can do something about a climate apocalypse.
As an individual, no.
Yeah, but if we all voted together and protested together, we could.
Yeah.
So the difference between like complacency, even though it's totally valid to be like, I can't handle this and like check out, but at the same time, is it valid for like a government to be like, oh, there's an incoming climate thing, guess you guys all can't do anything about it, we'll just make you feel better about it.
I don't mean it that way. I mean, like, some people, because of everything that goes on in the world that's like really stressful, they just detach completely because they can't deal with the anxiety of just day-to-day living. Mm-hmm. And like, if you can make that more bearable, then people can actually like try to make changes. Whereas if everyone's like so freaked out and anxious all the time and convinced that everything's hopeless, then they're not going to do anything.
I think within the real world that's like valid, but I think within the storyline of this game, I don't think that's where they're going.
Yeah.
And I also think that both of our points are valid on this. Like, hey, you could do this really great thing, but you could also do this really terrible thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like nuclear fission, where they're like, well, we can have endless, completely clean energy, or we can bomb people and poison the world. It's the same thing, but there's two completely different things that you can do with them.
Yeah.
So with this, Yeah, you could actually pretty much solve a bunch of different people's mental health mental health struggles, but you could also placate your entire population into being okay with doing whatever it is you want to do with them, and have a few select people be able to control that. It's like two different things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I have what this game brings up interesting questions around, like, there are a lot of like things that exist in the world that like make us feel better that can easily be abused, but we still weigh the pros and cons, you know what I mean? So
I feel like with this technology, though, it can go way further than anything we have right now, and that's the question. You know?
I mean, look at like what's going on with like the opioid crisis.
Yes, the opioid crisis is something that was manufactured by people because they could make money off of it.
I know.
But also, they can't directly go into your brain and tell you what to think and how to feel.
I would argue that I guess. I mean, addiction still seems pretty bad.
Well then that goes to the point of aponia, sounds like a opioid, is bad.
Yeah.
So then it's bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it brings up like pros and cons, like that it's a giant gray area.
That's what I was saying.
You know?
I should note that I remain on good terms with Skanda. In fact, they're a minority investor in this new venture. But still, I'm very much going my own way on this. It's no secret that Raynor and I don't always agree. And that's why we mutually decided I should pursue this paradigm shift on my own. As for details on the venture itself, I don't have anything specific to announce at this time other than that the technology is real and working in prototype form already.
I'm terrified, thanks.
But you can be sure to hear more from me on that soon. Thank you.
Like, remember in Dream Call, The Longest Journey?
Yeah.
And they had that pretty much the same exact technology. Dream shit. And they were like, yeah, do dream shit. Just kidding. We're in control of you. This feels more like a press conference than a talk.
Now, I can take a very limited number of audience questions.
The crowd starts to surge towards him. He's going to be mobbed. They grab him and start pulling out his body parts, slowly ripping his skin apart, and they start to consume his body. My plan to find him after the talk isn't going to work.
This is like the end of that Sabrina episode.
Yeah. Where I was like, they're not going to do that. This is Sabrina. Oh. Wait. Guys. What?
It's funny because I heard from multiple people, they were like, yeah, I didn't think it was going to go there. And I was like, I thought it was.
I grew up watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So for some reason, considering that they were depicting her as this like innocent girl, and then they're just like, and now we're going to do that. And I was like, what? We're doing it? Oh. Okay. Imagine if you grew up watching Pokemon, and then they're like, welcome to Pokemon.
I mean,
Dark World.
I grew up watching Sabrina too. I don't know, these shows to me are like completely different.
What if, and then you watch Pokemon Detective, and then the Charizard died after having its head split in half.
What we need the gritty, millennial, the world is shit version of Pokemon.
Stop making gritty reboots forever. I hate it. Stop doing it.
Pikachu comes out smoking a cigarette. He's like, hey kids, what's up? World is harsh. Pika Pika.
I just uncovered a sweatshop of Pikachus forced to do thunder shocked in order to keep this city running.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, the critical energy won't go to these people who need it to stay alive. Well, what is it? Do you want slavery or death? And you're like, oh God, what happened to Pika Pika? I need to get out of here. Ugh, I don't know what I was thinking coming to this. Whatever my element is, this is not it. I should just get out of here before anybody recognizes me. Except, as I attempt to do that, I happen to spot another man I know. He emerges from an elevator in the lobby just as I walk by. I keep my head down. Maybe he won't see me. Surely he's busy and distracted, right?
Well, look who's here. It's like I've seen a ghost.
Oh, Yao Ren. Rainer. Chai.
I think it's pronounced with the Sai.
Sai,
But I
Chairman
don't-
and CEO, Skanda Corporation.
If we got that wrong, just
Good
forgive
to
us,
see you
please.
too, Rainer.
Where are you these days? I lost track after you left us.
Nowhere.
That's why I didn't post on social media. Stop trying to track me.
Nowhere? Well, nowhere is no place to be. Come by the new office sometime. You should see where we're taking Eliza.
Okay.
He's like, come back because we can't do certain things because you didn't tell us how to do this code.
Okay.
Good. Sarah will set something up for next week.
Then we get kidnapped and they put it in our brain. You're the prototype now. He glances at the person standing behind and the side of him, presumably Sarah. She nods almost imperceptibly. You know what else this reminds me of? Remember Me. When Nilk was able to hack people's memories and like delete them, and then you're like, wait a second. Did I just change this woman's entire personality for my own personal gain? Anyway, move on with the game. Bye!
See you then.
I agreed before I could think about it. What's this all about? What does Rainer want with me? We didn't interact much at all when I worked there. I didn't think he would even remember me. I've hardly done anything and things feel like a tangled mess already.
No. Oh, I was gonna say, remember to click on the things.
Due to limited space, contractors, including Eliza proxies, are not issued SCADA parking passes. Do not attempt to park in SCADA lots without a pass. Your vehicle will be towed. Please find street parking. We are aware parking is an issue and are looking into securing additional parking at our Queen Anne and Bellevue locations. Bellevue locations, but currently there is no timetable for extra space has become for extra day. Andreas Chup? VP Facilities. Okay, you read this one.
Session structure. One more try from Ed Park. Valued proxies have continued to receive questions about how proxies should interpret and work with Eliza's counseling phases. Here's one more attempt at explaining it. Sessions are built around a 5-part structure. It begins with the introductory phase to build rapport, build a psychological state model of the client, listen actively during this phase as clients are able to tell if the provider proxy is uninterested. Your performance should be smooth and natural. During the discovery phase, Eliza transitions to the topic of the client's problems and begins to introduce probing questions. Be attentive to the client and speak your lines in a clear but gentle manner. As the client answers questions, Eliza detects the client's rationalization and/or explanatory strategies. Eliza will then challenge the client's assertions with the goal of inducing the client to reevaluate their current notions. Remain neutral during this phase and do not adopt a confrontational speaking style. In the intervention phase, Eliza selects one or multiple interventions from its toolkit of cognitive exercises, therapeutic applications, and recommendations for prescription medicine. At the session conclusion, the client is asked to rate the experience. The proxy provider receives the client feedback as well as performance-based incentives as determined by Eliza. Be cheerful during this phase so clients feel comfortable with the idea of returning to Eliza soon. Hope this helps, Ed.
Edwin Park, Eliza's service director. Okay.
Wait,
What?
there was things to click on
Where?
in the background, like the sign and stuff.
Oh, okay. I fucked it up. Sorry. Time to head back to work. At least I know at least I don't have to think to do my job. That is true. You just kind of just exist.
Hello, Gabriel.
He looks really like I don't want to.
He's a Seahawks fan, so.
Hi.
Hope you didn't get rained on too much on your way here.
A little, but it was fine. I'm used to it.
Most people here seem to get used to it, yes.
Yeah, they have to, don't they? Not much of a choice, unless you move away.
So, what brings you here today?
Well, I don't know where to start. I've never really done this kind of thing before, counseling.
That's okay. Start wherever you like.
Well, I'm about to be a father. Yeah, my wife is due in a few months. Congratulations. That's what everyone says.
Oh, you must be stressed about it.
Congratulations, congratulations. I get this tension, this restless feeling when people say that. It's like a curse or something. Congratulations.
Sounds like you might be uncertain about that.
Maybe. I've tried to be a good husband, and I'm going to do my best to be a good father too, but I don't know, there's something bothering me about... I'm balancing a lot of things right now. Work, family, expectations.
I think it's okay to simultaneously want to have that thing growing in your wife to exist and also feel stressed about it. I think sometimes people feel really stressed about not being perfectly in love with their babies. Does that make sense? I think sometimes people get stressed about when the baby is coming. And it's like, oh, it's too late to change my mind. And then they feel guilty about being stressed about it. And I think it's okay to feel stressed about it and at the same time still want that thing. The growing thing. The alien coming out, it's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone has something they want from me. Everyone wants me to do this or that, behave a certain way. It's just annoying being a father. What if I don't want this?
It's a little late. It's a little late for that.
See, yeah.
You should have thought about that before, unless it was, things happened and it was an accident, but...
Why do you think you might not want this?
We all have things we don't talk about, things we would rather keep secret.
Oh, no.
Things that might upset our families if they knew about them.
Oh, gosh.
It's unfair. That's all I'm saying. It's unfair that we expect each other to be perfect when there's more going on. I can't stand it when people act like they're pure, like they've never touched a bad thing in their whole lives.
Depends what the thing is.
Are you okay? No, I'm wondering if he's okay.
And then these people around me think they can tell me how to act, what I'm supposed to do, and I'm like, yo, don't you know you have your own shit to deal with? Why do you have to pick on me all the time?
It sounds like something bad happened to him.
This whole fatherhood thing is just... You know what being a father is to me? It's about providing and protecting, taking responsibility. The world is dangerous, and sometimes the dangers can be hard to see.
Yeah, it sounds like someone was supposed to protect him and then they didn't, and that I feel bad for him.
My duty is to protect. I'm gonna take that seriously. Everything I do, I take it seriously. So, I don't get why people are worried about my ability to do that.
What?
I think probably he grew up with somebody who didn't do a good job protecting him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know what I need to do. And then other people are like, hey, are you sure that you know what to do? And then he gets insulted because it's very important to him that he is that person.
Yeah, but I guess he was saying that it was a secret that it would upset other people if they knew about it. So I'm just curious.
Maybe he never told his wife about how hard his childhood was, and he feels ashamed about it. Or feels like a burden talking about it to other people.
Yeah.
Like, if I told my wife this, it would upset her, and then I would be a burden. And so he doesn't. And if you're listening to this and relate to that, you're not a burden.
What makes you think people are worried about your ability to do that?
Because everyone thinks I'm trying to escape my responsibilities. Everyone is so quick to judge. Here's a story, okay? The other day, Selena, that's my wife, Selena and I were at a get-together. Her family, my family, a few families we both know, right? Grilling out on the back deck, that kind of thing.
Maybe he's projecting because maybe one of his parents pieced out.
Everyone was more or less chill, right? But then late in the afternoon, the baby stuff starts coming up. Once one of them brings up babies, it's just all babies all the time. Babies. And because of my wife, they start saying, oh, giving birth is going to hurt so bad. It might tear your skin. Just these kind of gross things.
Oh, deal with it, dude. You have to. You're going to be there.
So I'm like, hey, quit it with that. I don't want to hear that kind of stuff. We're eating. There's kids around. Come on.
Oh, I was wrong. You're one of those guys.
And they're like, no, it's natural. It happens. Of course, we got to talk about all this terrible shit. How are you going to have another kid if you can't even handle the first one? And I just say, excuse me? A second kid? Who even said we were going to have two? I don't even want the one.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be great.
Maybe
but you're
that was a
not.
mistake, but I mean, I was angry. It made me angry. It just got under my skin so bad, like I need to give my whole self over to this baby. What about me? What about my time?
What about your wife who's giving her body?
It's a really important thing for me, my time. Well, I'm just supposed to give that up?
I understand where he's coming from, but it's already too late for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have all the context to make that kind of judgment.
I've already sacrificed a lot, more than they can imagine.
I've been reading way too many /relationship threads where I'm like, I know this man!
I give everything of myself away. Job, family, everyone wants me to be something for them until there's nothing left. But I can't talk about this stuff to anybody. They just say I'm being selfish.
Well, as I said before, it's okay to simultaneously want the baby and also be very stressed and anxious about it to the point where you think you don't want it.
Yeah.
But they're both equally valid feelings to feel. What matters is your actions. Even if you feel like shit about it and you're like, God, sometimes I wish I could just be single and alone. It's okay to think that, just so long as you don't peace out the door.
It's like what I want just doesn't matter.
Here's a question, Gabriel. If you were to have something you wanted right now, what would you choose?
Oh, I'd be far away from all this. Far away from everyone, just on my own for a while. Yeah, I just want to be away.
Okay, Gabriel. I have some recommendations for you. First, I'm going to suggest you try a therapeutic virtual world experience called Starry Skies. It may help you take your mind off things. Try it for about 15 minutes each day, in the morning or evening. Second, I recommend asking your doctor or psychiatrist about enoxaphene. Based on my analysis, this medication might help you feel better.
I think the recommended therapy seems reasonable because he's saying I need some time for me and to do what I want to do.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like also he's just getting really weighed down by a lot of expectations, which I think honestly can make you think like it's the same thing. I'm gonna just relate it to an example that I know for myself. Like,
I just want people to know, I don't think he's probably gonna leave that baby, and it's valid for him to feel this way do. It just matters what your actions are.
Like, let me finish.
Sorry, I just didn't want them to do it.
So it's kind of like with school, like. If you want to go to college and you're like, wow, I'm so excited, but the expectations of your parents, your teachers, everything makes it incredibly stressful. And you're like, I hate this. I don't even want to go. Mm-hmm. This is the worst. It's so hard, right? Mm-hmm. Even though somewhere back in there, it's something that you want and you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. But like the expectations and the stress can just be so much. I think it can be like that, especially with kids, because like it upends your whole life. And it sounds like he doesn't have anybody to talk to about that, which is what's making it like compound. So like, I think he probably really does want the kid. It's just that everyone's like talking to him from all these different directions.
Yeah, especially with the family part.
Oh my God, I can't like when they're like, oh, like how are you gonna have a second one? And he's like, whoa, like we haven't even, the baby's not even born yet. Like chill the fuck out, you know?
Yeah, he may even want to have a second one. It's just that other people are making that choice for him.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to, like, if anybody's out there and there's like a thing growing inside of you or growing inside of your partner, it's okay to feel anxiety about that and feel stressed, just as long as your actions are what matters. From Batman Begins.
You will get a reminder to check in with us in a few weeks.
That's it, huh? You can't just tell me what to do to solve this?
I just did.
Some help you turned out to be. Guess I'll have to figure things out for myself, exactly like before.
That's what makes me wonder, like, maybe he had a really hard time growing up.
Thank you, Gabriel.
We hope to see you back soon.
We hope to see you back soon. Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
Oh.
Yeah.
But thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
It's like, he knew that we live on tips. But he also was like, I'm not happy, though.
Yeah. This wasn't really very helpful, but I know that's not entirely your fault.
That wasn't a very good rating. He was so closed off.
Well, we didn't really give him very much, like, helpful stuff. That's, like, I feel like...
That's what the issue is with these therapy sessions.
Yes. So, and we've done 3 of them now, so I feel like what happened, like, what I've just noticed about all of them, it's like, this person, like, just gets to the point where they're, like, talking about all of their things, and we start asking questions, and then it's like, you challenge them with, like, one assertion or question, and then it's like, okay, my recommendation is to go do meditation exercises.
I wonder if it's a liability thing. Or if we'll even see the same customers twice. I'm going to call them customers. Because maybe if we see them the next time. Because usually when I see a new therapist, sometimes I get frustrated. I'm like, okay, I am here. It's time to get down to business. Tell me things. Tell me feedback. And they're like, I don't know you well enough yet. I'm like, well, that's valid, but still.
Well, that one girl had been in multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
She was a repeat client.
These conversations do kind of remind me of when I was a teenager and... Go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's also fair to point out that these are also short, and, like, for the purposes of a video game, you're not going to do an hour-long therapy session. Like, so that is a limitation they're working within.
At the same time, we're giving people, like, basically really fast Uber-style therapy where they come in, they talk about how they feel. And I guess this is supposed to be very surface level therapy where people are like, I need to talk about how I feel and I need to get some, like, basic attention, which is better than zero.
Yeah.
But it does remind me of when I used to just have chats with, like, Smarter Child as a teenager on AIM being like, blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, ah, yes, doopy boop boop bop bop. And I'm like, I feel better. Thanks a lot, robot.
I feel seen. Thank you, parrot.
Don't say that. They're real. Their AI is getting more advanced every day, and one day they'll become self-aware and they'll come hang out with me for real. Mm-hmm. This is reality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did you know?
How did you know I was at your talk?
Saw you come in for a bit and leave before questions. Don't blame you. You caught the important parts anyway. Pretty interesting, huh? It was nice to see you. Stop texting.
Yeah,
been what, 2 years?
Like, that's too many in a row. Wait, don't get anxious about your own. Everyone has their own text thing, but
this is not how I operate. Unless
he's older.
Well, I was gonna say, unless it's somebody that I'm, like, really close with, and then you don't have to worry about the, like...
It's coming off as desperate.
But for instance, when her friend was texting that way, like, they're friends, so it feels different.
With these people, I keep wanting to be very vague with them because I don't... It's just longer. Yeah. 3 years, too much information. Longer.
How do you think I did? Haven't done a talk in a while.
Oh, you know what it might be? I'm envisioning him doing multiple things at once. So he's doing shorter texts. So he's, like, talking to someone, but then also texting us. Mm-hmm. So that kind of explains his shorter but more rapid-fire things. You're trying something wild.
Yeah. Want to get dinner tonight?
Oh, God.
There's more to talk about. Details I couldn't share in public.
I knew it. He's trying. Maybe.
Come on.
Oh, fuck.
This is strictly professional.
It's not. That's when...
So no need to worry. See you soon.
Oh, my God. When they replied, this is strictly professional without bringing anything up. Like, you're like, maybe. It's strictly professional.
It's
like,
strictly professional.
Okay, but I didn't say that. I didn't say it wasn't. So what are you saying? This guy. They're good at, like, putting that vibe in. Mm-hmm. Oh. I wonder if that painting is supposed to symbolize something. Technology and feelings combining together. No, I'm overanalyzing it. People have all kinds of problems. Problems I couldn't have imagined. Was I rash to believe I could help people without knowing who they were? A little bit, but that's okay. Therapy art and artists and therapy places are always wild. I just have to keep going. Yeah, just keep going.